Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ask Kati Anything. I am your host, licensed marriage and family therapist, Kati Morton. I'm so glad that you're here. Today, I have the wonderful privilege of talking to Jordan Leigh. Now, Jordan is not only the co-founder of the mental health initiative From Us to You, but she is also the fiancée of Patrik Laine, who is a Montreal Canadian. And you know Sean, he's a huge hockey fan, and they are doing well this season. Yay! So we are going to talk about where she comes from, how she came up with the idea with Patrik for From Us to You, and her hopes for the future. And we're going to leave you with some tips and tricks and insights along the way. Jordan, thank you so much for being here. First of all, also, I love your extensions. Your hair is amazing.
I just got them last week.
I know, I knew because of Instagram.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
I was like, they're beautiful.
Thank you.
So I want to learn a little bit about you and growing up. But what were your hobbies growing up? What was, when you were a kid, like what did you want to be? Tell me a little bit about that.
So I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, and I was really into I ran track in high school, but I wasn't really a big athlete. Like my family would joke, like of all of them, like they're football players. I come from a really big football family, but I was kind of the oddball of the family.
The black sheep.
The black sheep that wasn't super like, oh my gosh, let's like it's football Sunday, like that kind of thing. Exactly. So it's kind of ironic that I'm the one who ended up in the sports world getting older. Mm-hmm. But yeah. I left Ohio when I was 18, went down to Wake Forest for university, and then have been in Washington, D.C. From then until I met Patty a couple of years ago. So,
yeah, in D.C., love that city.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
What a fun place to be.
Mm-hmm.
So what were you doing in D.C.? Was it, is it something that you're still doing for work, or what brought you there?
Yeah, so when I was in university, I was majoring in health policy. I had a really big passion for healthcare, and I wrote my thesis on the opioid epidemic. I actually was working with the governor and the public health system up in Boston for an internship when I was in college. But I really thought I was going to go to law school. So I went to Washington, D.C., and I was doing a gap year working in corporate America. And it was actually during 2020 and COVID and everything when I was first arriving there. But so while I was studying for the LSAT, I had a lot of extra time because we weren't going into the office for my corporate job. And I started a health and fitness business, online coaching. And from there, I still thought I was going to go to law school, but I ended up falling in love with entrepreneurship and really making that my passion. And so I decided not to go to law school anymore and keep pursuing that. And so corporate America and in parallel with my side hustle for health and fitness was kind of my jam until I moved to Ohio to be with Patty.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have a suspicion because when we were at dinner the other night, I mentioned that I'm like type A and very structured, and Patty like looked at you and I was like, are you the same?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very driven, very like self-starter.
Yeah, I'm definitely somebody who's like a go person. I'm somebody who, I have a lot of projects going on at once. So like I said, like a couple of years ago, I was doing my corporate job. I was doing my business. I was also in the modeling world for a little bit. I did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, DC Fashion Week. That was really fun, and started doing that for a little bit. And now, kind of in parallel to that, I'm somebody who I'm working on my master's for mental health counseling with NYU, and I'm running From Us to You, and I'm training for a half marathon. So yeah, a lot of different goals going on at the same time. I'm definitely happiest when I'm busy and when I feel like I'm like moving towards goals.
100% same. I actually worked on that in therapy recently about like earning your worth. Feeling like I have to hustle.
Being addicted to productivity. That's a real thing.
It is. And still working on it. Don't have the answers yet.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you said that when you went, so you were in DC and then you met Patty. How did you meet Patty? Because if you were in DC and he's in Columbus, how did this meet cute happen?
Well, it doesn't feel that cute when I tell the story. But it's funny because actually the person who I was going home for a wedding, and I hadn't been in Columbus for a few years, honestly, because my family had moved out of Ohio. My brother went away to school and my dad moved down to Florida. And I went back to Columbus wedding, and then we were out at the bars the night before the wedding and everything. And Patty and I ran into each other. We spent some time together that night, and I honestly never thought I was going to see him again. But we just kept FaceTiming, texting and everything, and ended up meeting up again in Miami a couple of weeks later. He flew because he was in his off season down to see me, and I was in.
Look at that! He chased you.
Well, if he wanted to, he would is like a really real thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was this. It was like a video of someone on TikTok. She was talking. It was her mom. Essentially, she was recorded. Her mom didn't know she was being recorded.
Yeah.
And she was like. It's like that country song, like if he said if he loved you, he'd say, if he wanted you to meet his parents. But her mom is essentially saying, she's like, men aren't difficult, they're not confusing.
Yes.
If they want to make a point of seeing you, they would say it. If they want to see you, they'll make it happen. If they want to text, they would. If they want to, and I'm like, she was just going through all the things, and it's true.
Yeah.
We make it more complicated than it is, but
Oh, absolutely.
So he chased you, as he should.
He did, yeah. And I remember too, when we were doing the long distance getting to know you kind of thing, there was this moment that I think really kind of describes how attentive and like caring and nurturing Patty is. And we were FaceTiming, and I mean, he was over in Finland, so it's a 7-hour time difference, and he would stay up super, super late to talk to me. I was working my corporate job, like I said, so I get off at 5 p.m., and that's midnight in Finland. Yeah. So we would start FaceTiming and everything, and he would stay up really, really late to talk to me. And then there was one night where I stayed up really late talking to him and had a meeting the next morning. And he knew that I was going to be pretty tired from the meeting. And he actually Uber Eats'd me like a coffee order to my door from Finland. And then, but he knew my coffee order, and he didn't know if it was supposed to be hot or iced. And so he got me both. And it was one of those moments of just like, it's such a small thing, but it just shows how thoughtful and caring he is, and how attentive he is. And, you know, it really stuck with me, honestly. Yeah. No, if he wanted to, he would.
And he did. Yeah, that's super sweet. It's always those little things, too. It's not about the big things.
Yeah. He really goes the extra mile for people that he cares about, for sure. Like, he would do anything for his close people. So
yeah. And it's just funny, I think, too, because meeting him, he reminds me of my husband's best friend. It's another Sean. So it's like the Sean duo. Yeah. But Sean Nichols, we call him Nichols. Anyway, he's kind of like Patty that way too, where he comes across as like, he doesn't warm up quick.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very Finnish.
Yeah. Oh, was it? Okay. I was like, Sean, his friend is Irish, so I was like, maybe I don't know, but it's European. Yeah, but maybe it's a European thing. But yeah, not quick to warm, but once they've warmed, very caring.
Yeah,
that's really sweet. I always love the like meet, like when he was trying to woo you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Does he still do stuff like that, like thoughtful little bits?
Yeah,
it's different.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like Patty he's a huge teddy bear, like massive teddy bear. He's very sensitive and like very caring and very romantic. And he's definitely somebody who, once you break down his wall, you start to see his personality come out more and more. So like you just said, he comes across at first as like big, strong man. And I feel like
stoic. Yeah,
exactly. And I think a lot of people, when you see the hockey players in general down on the ice, it's like, oh, this rough and tough sport. But I think me and a lot of the other girls can relate in saying like that's a totally different person than who's at home with us, because it's like they're a teddy bear. Like, don't touch him, don't touch him, don't touch him.
So you're like, don't hurt him,
please don't touch him.
I know. I don't know how you do that when you were talking about watching him play hockey on the ice, because it's such a rough sport, and like even just the noise, like of the when they hit the boards and like all that stuff. I hadn't thought about it from your perspective till you're like, yeah, if I'm at the game, I'm like, no, don't touch him. No, don't you dare get in that fight, Patty. Don't you try to fight.
Yeah.
Like, I would have that same, I'm like, that would be so hard for me.
Yeah.
Because you want to protect your person. You know?
I think that, like, I remember when I was younger, my brother, he did wrestling. And that was hard to watch, but it's like my brother, so I wasn't as protective, I think. But I remember my grandma saying one time that she hated watching Chase wrestle because he was so you're afraid that they're gonna get hurt and everything, or even just seeing like that like contact, it's really kind of alarming. But yeah, I feel like the same way. I think I understand now more about like the emotion that goes into sports and everything. When I'm watching Patty, it's like a physical reaction in my body. Like, so when you're stressed or something with an anxiety or like those endorphins that go through you, for me, it's like a stress reaction while he's playing too.
Oh, you like feel the tingles for him almost. Like
it's that, but it's like you have no control at all what's going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel this tension in my neck. I feel the butterflies in my stomach. It's weird because it's actually worse when it's away games. On
the TV, but they can zoom in on the TV.
Yeah.
Where if Like if you're at the game, or I haven't been to the Centre Bell, but like we saw them play, Sean and I saw them in Anaheim play like years and years and years ago. It's so much like farther away, even if you're close, because you're kind of like looking down into them and like you're trying to follow the puck. But in the TV, they're like zooming in and you can see like collisions happen. And,
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is like when Patty had his big injury earlier in the year.
That was terrible, by the way.
It was terrible.
Like, sorry, but what a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Also, we do not like the Maple Leafs. Love it or hate it. No.
It was definitely scary. I think the craziest part is that when it happened, I had no idea what was going on. So,
and they never tell you because they don't want anybody to know if there's an injury or not. They just go off the ice.
No. So whenever somebody's injured, what happens is the girls are all sitting in the family section somewhere in the arena, and then where I was actually on the opposite side of the ice from Patty. So I saw that he was down, but I couldn't see that he was holding his knee. I couldn't see exactly like what had happened. Definitely not nearly as much as the other side of the arena did.
Yeah.
And then on top of all of that, the announcer and everything is speaking in French. And so
not helpful at all. 0%.
Exactly. So I knew that he was hurt. I saw people carrying him off the ice and everything, but I just got up and ran down to the family room. And it was so nice. Some of the girls came with me and were sitting with me and waiting to see what was happening.
It's gotta be scary.
It's scary because you just don't know what's going on. And all you have to do is you wait for a text from one of the trainers or
so you're just
one of
sitting
the
and waiting.
Staff. Or waiting for Patty to text me or something. It's funny because one of his best friends, Nico, was watching from Finland. And so he was watching the game in Finnish, and then he was texting me, telling me what was happening, even though I was in the arena.
Because it was in French, so you're like, I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the Canadians, like the staff, the trainers, everybody is so amazing. It's really such a great organization. Like I knew that Patty was going to be very well taken care of, and he always is. But yeah, just the not knowing and not having control of what's going on is something that I think it's one of the things I struggle with most as being a hockey wife. So
yeah, because you're on the outside, but you're very much involved at the same time. Do you know what I mean? It's like a weird juxtaposition of like, I'm really close to this person. I love them. They're like my person. But then when they go to work, like I don't have access. And I can imagine that being, because it's out of, like, now I'm speaking personally, things that are out of my control, I hate.
Yes. That's our type A. Yeah.
I like to have my lists. I like to know what I can do. I like to take action.
Yes.
Tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I will do it. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, that's how I am in therapy too. Like I'm very much okay, I'm struggling with this. I need to work through it.
Yeah. Give me a list.
Give me homework, give me solutions, all that kind of stuff. Where it's funny because Patty's actually the total opposite, where what he needs when somebody's supporting him is just for somebody to listen. So I think that that's one of the things that I really learned when he was going through all of his mental health struggles and took his break from hockey last year too, is like learning to ask someone what they need instead of just assuming that they need the same thing as you when you're asking someone for support. And it's kind of funny. It's the same way with him and me, because I remember this one particular instance.
Thank you to today's sponsor, Vegamore. As someone who puts a lot of product in their hair and highlights it, the amount of shedding I see on the regular is, well, concerning. And I'm serious, I'm always pulling hair out of the drain and my Tangle teaser brush, and I know I'm not alone in feeling frustrated with hair thinning. For a long time, I thought it was just something that I had to accept. I tried countless products, but nothing made a real difference until I discovered Vegamore's Grow Hair Serum. Vegamore is the leader in plant-powered, science-backed solutions for thinning hair. Their Grow Hair Serum was recently named the #1 prestige hair serum and is clinically proven to reduce shedding, leaving you with visibly fuller, healthier hair. So what sets Vegamore apart? Their formulas are vegan, cruelty-free, we love that, and formulated without harsh chemicals. Grow Hair Serum is packed with peptides, plant stem cells, and plant-based phytoactives to deliver real results in as little as 3 months. And the best part, it's clinically tested, with 93% of users experiencing less shedding and 90% seeing an overall improvement in the appearance of their hair. Seriously, you guys, you should see the before and after photos. What I love most about Vegamore is how easy it is to add Grow Hair Serum to my routine. I just apply a few drops once a day, and I'm good to go. It's super lightweight, not greasy at all, and I can use it on my wet or dry hair, which is a total game changer. After just a few weeks, I started noticing less shedding, and my hair felt so much healthier. I don't know how I lived without it before. Since the best results come with consistency, I subscribe to the jumbo size so that I never miss a day. If you're struggling with shedding or thinning, don't wait. Vegamore really works. It's so easy to apply. In the almost 2 months that I've been using it, I already noticed less shedding, less hair in my Tangle Teezer brush, and almost none in my drain. I also just love how easy it is to use. You just fill up the dropper, put it in, no grease, and like style as normal. It makes sticking with it so much easier. Are you tired of dealing with shedding or thinning? Take back control of your hair with Vegamore. For a limited time, go to vegamore.com/Katie, code Katie, to get 20% off of your first order. That's vegamore.com/Katie, code Katie, to save 20% on your first order. vegamore.com/Katie, code Katie.
I remember this one particular instance. When I was first moving to Columbus, I needed an office in the condo so I could keep doing my corporate job. I was working remotely. And so there was this room that was thankfully open that he was going to turn into like a treatment room or something. I'm like, sorry, this is my office now.
Yeah, you're like, you want me to move here? I need a space.
This is for me now. Sorry, here I am. But we went to Best Buy to go and pick out a desk or something, and I didn't know the dimensions or something, and I was just kind of getting a little bit overwhelmed because, I mean, it was a big scary move and there was so much uncertainty, and for some reason my brain was just kind of, the overwhelming moment was, what desk do I get? What's the right desk?
That was the like straw that broke the like,
exactly.
I'm making this big leap, I'm taking this risk.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I doing?
Exactly. Like you just,
I don't even know the dimensions of it.
Yes, exactly. You push it back, and then all of a sudden it's like, boop.
Yep.
This one little thing that pushes you over to, like, it makes you acknowledge all those feelings, right? Like all the overwhelm and all these big moments. But yeah, Patty, I think he thought I was crazy in the moment because I was like, I need help. I was like, I need you to help me. He's like, with the desk? Like, which one
So
do you,
literal.
which one do you want? Like, I don't know, like, take whatever one you want. And I was like, no, not the desk. I was like, I need help.
It's not about the desk.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those moments, it's kind of classic, like, your partner can't read your mind. Mm-hmm. You have to tell them what you're thinking and what you're going through. But also, if you haven't processed those emotions yourself, it's hard to articulate that to somebody else. So
100%. It's definitely like, I mean, it sounds silly, so I'm like 41, but it's like something I'm still learning is like being able to articulate the help that I need and then ask for it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then the biggest part is accept it. Because people will offer help. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No. I got it all under control. But meanwhile, I'm like, don't have it under control. I'm like about to freak out. But I'm like, so there's like these steps that we often like, I don't know if other people take it for granted that can do it easily, but I cannot do that easily.
No, I definitely can't either. I'm someone who, and I think a lot of the women that are in this space we're very independent. You kind of need to be because your partner is on the road so much, and a lot of the women like who have children, it's like you're doing that oftentimes by yourself.
Yeah, for huge chunks of time.
For large chunks of time in a really big part of the year. So we're kind of used to, having everything under control. Patty, he jokes and he calls me the government because I'm kind of the manager of like pretty much all of our life. Yeah, our life outside of hockey because, he needs to focus on doing his job and it's such an all-consuming thing. But that means that I'm kind of in charge of everything else. Yeah. But I mean, I love that. And with my type A personality, I think it's a really good match. Yeah. But going back to what you said about, being able to accept help, it's crazy because in the time that Patty has been injured, multiple times throughout the last year, which has been, it's a lot for anybody. Like if you imagine like your partner not being able to walk for a few weeks, a couple months, anything, like it's a big to do, especially for them, but also for like support system too, of course. So one of the things that I learned about accepting support over the process of Patty being injured multiple times over the past year is that the most helpful thing that somebody can do when you're offering support is to be specific. Because I think that a lot of the times when we say, oh, like, I'm here if you need me, or let me know if there's anything you need, I know that when someone was saying that to me, it's so helpful and you feel supported, but at the same time, you don't know how to ask for it. You don't know what to ask for.
Like being here for me, like, what is that?
Exactly.
Because then you have to come up with what it
exactly
is.
Like, and you don't know if it's it feels like a weird thing to say, like, oh yes, like, thank you so much. Like, could you bring over dinner tomorrow so I don't have to, you know, or could you do this. And, but it really, really resonated with me. There were a couple of people in my life who, my Aunt Amy and my Uncle Will in particular, they were like, Jordan, you're going through so much right now, and Patty is injured and he's going through so much. Like, please let us take Boogie for a couple weeks.
Oh yeah, because he'd have been a pupperoni. He would have jumped all over Patty.
Yeah, we had the puppy, and or we still have the puppy, of course.
Of course, Boogie's still here.
Yeah, but he was even more of a baby at that point, and
he's a big boy.
Yeah, and it's, you know, we were in an Airbnb at the time. We hadn't even moved into a real place.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just feeling this for you now because it's like very out of control.
Yeah.
In my brain, that feels very out of control.
Yeah. There was a lot going on at the same time. We just moved to a new city. We were not moved into our full condo yet. And actually the place that we were in.
Pre-season.
Yeah, it was pre-season.
Sorry, realizations.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
There's a lot of layers there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great that my Aunt Amy and my Uncle Will, they're like, oh, can we please like come take Boogie for a couple weeks? And they live in Boston. And so the first couple times they asked, it was actually even before Patty got injured. I was like, no, it's okay. Like, we got it under control, and like everything's great. But then once Patty got injured, and they offered again, I was like, yes, please help me. Like, and it was great to have like a specific thing that someone did, and it really did help so much.
It's a big thing to take off your plate.
It really was, and we just appreciated it so much. They literally drove all the way from Boston, picked up Boogie. We had a fun night. We went to dinner and like celebrated my uncle's birthday, and then they drove home the next day. But it really taught me, you know, like if I could have asked for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I never
you might not even
have
thought
asked.
to ask.
Exactly. Other people were offering like, can I send you lunch today? Things like that. And it was, again, something that I think it's a mental switch to kind of acknowledge, yes, I can take this help kind of thing, or people want to help you and they mean it. You know, they're not just saying that to say it. But now when somebody's going through something, I'm purposefully a lot more intentional in how I offer to help or how I express support, because, you know, like, oh, I'm here for you. It's, you mean it and you're really sincere about it. But sometimes like saying specifically how, like what their capacity is to help you is really helpful to the person who's feeling overwhelmed in the moment, you know?
Well, yeah, because if you're overwhelmed, it's hard to sometimes even know what you need.
Yeah.
Right. And it could be, like you said, you wouldn't have thought to say like somebody could take Boogie.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know how you can help me.
Yeah.
I'm drowning. I've seen these people online sharing like little things that they've sent to like new moms. Like, I can come and take the baby for 2 hours and you can take a nap or you can shower.
Yep.
I can bring like, and it is kind of nice to give those options, to give a specific thing.
Yeah.
And see if that happens to resonate. Because I try to think of like when I feel overwhelmed, I don't know if I even know what I really need. It's like, I just need some help. But what does that mean?
Yeah.
Somebody help me.
Like the desk in Best Buy. Help.
Yeah.
I need help.
I don't. I'm
with
freaking
the desk?
I know.
No, not with the desk.
I love how literal, but I get it.
Yeah.
You're like, no, it's a lot of buildup.
Yeah.
Lots of things happening.
Exactly. But I think that goes to show, like, again, with like our type A personalities, you push it down. You're like, I got this. But then if you don't deal with that stuff and you're not processing it and like actually dealing with it, then eventually it's, you know.
And it always is at the weirdest time, like the desk.
Yeah, it always comes back up again. You have to deal with it eventually.
Yeah. So speaking on Patty's injury, tell me how that was for you in supporting him. Like you said that he kind of just needed you to listen.
Yeah.
How did you navigate that, and what did you learn from that experience?
I think that the biggest thing that Patty has expressed to me that was helpful in that situation and just with in general in supporting him is just being understanding. And when I say understanding, it's, I can't relate to what he's going through. And I think that's one of the things that's really difficult for them is nobody except for other athletes can relate to what you're going through. So you go home and you're like, oh, like, I understand. And they're like, no, you don't understand. But what he means by understanding, I think, is, if he's having a bad day and he's a little bit more irritable than usual, or he's really tired and, we had a date night planned or something, then it's like being very, understanding in the sense of like you're going through a lot, and I understand that sometimes like your needs need to take precedent over like our specific date night this night, or it's like he has a headache and I'm really excited about doing X, Y, and Z, but like how can I, like, if he's not happy, smiley, go lucky Patty, like his usual self in those moments, it's me being like, okay, this is about something else that's going on. It's not a reflection of what's happening in that moment. You know?
It's like, it's not about you, or it's not about your relationship.
It's funny. I always joke, but I think it's kind of true. It's like people come up to me once they get past that wall with Patty, they're like, I just love him. My friend Amy, after they visited a different time, she's like, Jordan, like, Patty's like my brother now, like, you guys are the best, like all this kind of stuff. And like my friends are so supportive, and I'm so grateful for them. Like I said, they're like my family. But like, it's trusting that, when your partner isn't showing up because there's other things going on, then that they're going to understand too, because, and if they don't understand, then
they're probably
they don't
not
understand.
that great of friends either. Because I feel like I could never see a situation where if I was meeting one of my best friends person, like their person that they've talked about and I've heard in their voice, and something's different about this person, and they're moving, they're making a big choice. Like, I could never imagine meeting them once, and if they weren't in a great mood because other stuff was going on, me thinking like, oh, they're such an asshole. Like, fuck that guy. No, I'd be like, I'd probably talk to my friend. I'd be like, what's going on? Is he okay? Like, what's happening? It's more curious, not judgmental about the situation. But relationships are tricky in that way, in the ebb and flow of things going our way or not, being able to compartmentalize only for so long. We all have limits, right?
In general, I think with mental health struggles, a really big thing is, I think a lot of people think of a mental health struggle as someone's tired, they're in bed all day, they think of depression. And I don't think a lot of people talk about or realize that can show up in other ways as well. When someone is maybe, like I said, maybe they're a little bit more irritable than usual, maybe they're not as engaged in conversations, maybe they're a little more quiet and reserved than usual. So there's a lot of different ways that can show up. And I think that it's okay for people to have, a bad day, but like when you see somebody that's not acting like themselves, then you could like recognizing that as like someone struggling versus like, oh, what's wrong with this person today? Like they're not, why aren't they acting like in their 100% of the time? Why aren't they giving their 100? Like what you might not realize is that they are giving 100, but that your 100 doesn't show up like your 100 because they're struggling.
I agree with that totally, because instead of laying on more problem, we're like, what's wrong with you? How come you can't do this for me? And you make it about yourself, seeing things from their perspective, and understanding. I think it's Brené Brown. She said that like sometimes you don't have 100% to give. You're working with like 20. And so even if you're giving 100%, it's still only 20 because that's all you have. And she talks about it in relation to her husband, like when they're showing up for things, like how are you doing? Oh, I'm only like 40, or I'm like worse. Like which one can do most of the work? And I love that analogy, especially applied to this situation. Like if Patty's going through it and he only has like 30% to give, you're like, don't worry, I got the other 70. I got you. We'll figure it out.
I think Michelle Obama said something similar to that too. Like, sometimes like Barack is going to be giving 80 or giving like in terms of their relationship, she's going to be needing to do 80% of the work in their relationship when he's doing 20 because he was doing running president things. World. Like, oh my gosh, exactly. But yeah, I think there's a lot of good analogies with that in terms of, recognizing that somebody's 100 is not always the same as what your 100 is in that moment.
And depending on the situation, right? Because everybody has different strengths and weaknesses. Like yours is organization. I'm assuming because it's similar. It's like our strengths lie in planning, organization.
Yep, you got me.
Scheduling. All week, like that's my jam. Making things happen.
Yeah.
I can do that. But everybody has different strengths and weaknesses. Because I definitely don't. I can't like ask for help as easily, maybe as somebody else could, or something like that.
Yeah.
So when it comes to dealing with Patty's injuries and even just him being a professional athlete, does that have any effect on your mental health? Like it sounds like a little bit like trying to navigate that. What's that like?
It definitely does. I would say when you're with somebody in this close of a capacity, especially when your life has come to be revolving around this person's schedule and their career. And I don't mean that in the sense of that I don't have my own things. And
Yeah,
that's
you
like,
clearly have a lot of your own things. That's been established.
I just mean like, you know, like if tomorrow I wake up and we've been traded to California, like we're moving to California. It's nothing to do, like I have no say whatsoever.
Which is wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm like, as a control freak.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, like, and it won't be too like in 2 months and you have some time to process it and like, okay, like, blah, blah. It's like, it is tomorrow, you know? So in terms of dealing with Patty's injuries and my own mental health, I'd say it really is that lack of control that's really been a struggle for me. It's not having the answers to a lot of things. And like I said, I am so solutions oriented, and a lot of these things, there are no solutions. I can't solve them right away. It's just kind of, okay, here's this new thing that's happened and like, let's deal with it. And it's me trying to be as positive as possible for Patty because like he needs positivity when he comes home. He needs somebody who is going to be that support because he's already like, he's taking on all these issues and he doesn't need me being like, oh, like this. Yeah. And like one of the things that I try to shield him from is, but everybody is wondering, you know, it's like when he's injured, when are you playing again? When are you playing again? When's he playing again?
Yeah.
And
online, I'm sure people just...
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody...
I'm like, I deal with enough shit and I'm not even... It's not even the same.
Yeah.
In relation to kind of these shifts and these things that are out of your control and Patty getting injured, how does all of that kind of uncontrollable situations, unknown outcomes, how does that affect your mental health? How do you navigate that?
I think that when Patty's injured, it's most difficult for me in terms of my mental health in that, you know, when you're with your partner, their goals become your goals and their wins become your wins and their losses become your losses. But the thing is, when Patty comes home after he's been injured, I can't go to him, even though I'm hurting from his injury emotionally. Yeah. But I can't go to him and be like, hey, I'm really struggling with your broken leg.
Even though you are.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I love you, and watching that happen is terrible. And what does this mean for you and for us?
Exactly. So therapy is something that's been really, really helpful to me in terms of, you know, processing those emotions and having a space for me to have those feelings and not feel guilty about it. Because I think that when, you know, like when somebody is going through something and they need your support, then like, I mean, I need to process that too, and have my own way to kind of deal with my stuff, but without it being something extra for Patty on top of everything that he's going through. So
yeah, therapy can be your place where you're like, this is horrible. Oh my God. But then you can show up for him. Yeah. And be the positive support at home.
I try to.
That must be hard. Yeah.
It's heavy sometimes, but also I think that in general, this space is just, there's so many highs, but there's also some lows too. A lot of highs, a lot of lows. And it's, before I was with Patty, I think that it was a lot more like middle ground. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of riding a hill. Yeah. There are hills and valleys, and now it's like mountains and valleys, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of adrenaline, but there's a lot of scary stuff as well. Yeah. Yeah.
No, definitely. It's a little more extreme in the ups and downs. Yeah. Which can be really exciting, but it can also be really scary. I want to talk a little bit about From Us to You and how, because we're talking about mental health, and clearly that's been something you've been interested in, which is cool to hear from like forever ago. Like when you started college, like that was what you were interested in, and health as a whole. How did From Us to You come to fruition? Where did the idea spark?
Patty went into the Players Assistance Program in January of last year. And when he did, it was one of the scariest decisions that he'll say that he's had to make. There's a lot of pressure when you're in that space, and everybody wants you to do well, but having to say, I'm going to prioritize myself and have this big hockey career take a backseat for a little bit so I can work on me is a really, really scary thing. And he was really, really worried, and I was really worried too about what people were gonna think of it, not in terms of that's the most important thing, but just in the sense of, when you're trying to prioritize yourself and you have the whole world telling you negative things, like that is impactful too. That makes it worse. And so, but on the other hand, what ended up happening and that we're so grateful for is that when he did that, people were so overwhelmingly positively responding to it. When that happened, it really showed a lot of people that Patty is a human. I think that a lot of times a problem that happens in the hockey world is that these guys are idolized, which is, it's cool to feel like a superstar, but the thing is there's two different ways that you can dehumanize somebody, and one of them is dismissing them, but the other is idolizing them, I
never thought of it that way, but yeah.
Yeah. So when a lot of times, people will send messages and things, and they don't think that Patty and I see them, but we do.
Don't you hate shit like that? Sorry, that's one of my biggest pet peeves of being online. Is you don't realize there's another person on the other end. And my audience, for the most part, is pretty kind, but every once in a while, someone who's probably not part of the community will leave something horrific.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't forget that we're people.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't say that to someone's face, don't put it online. Like what I tell you, fuck you. I hope you die. People say the nastiest shit.
They do.
And I'm like,
it's excuse me.
I know. I'm like, say it to my face.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't, don't do it.
Yeah. Well,
how hard?
The crazy thing is, I really think that
and I'd be so
people,
protective.
Yeah. Yeah. I am protective. But when somebody says something like that, what you'll find is that because sometimes I will reply to them, and sometimes Patty will reply to them, but every single time that you do, make them known that that you saw it. Because they don't think you see it, I think is the thing, a lot of these people. But when you acknowledge their comment in some sort of way, immediately they're apologizing or they're sending a direct message.
I didn't think you'd see that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we've had people ask Patty for jerseys after leaving a hate comment when he replies to it. It's crazy. But I mean, like I said, it's kind of the dehumanization aspect, But going back to the From Us to You, the great news is it was really, really well received when he decided to make that really big life decision, and we were just so grateful for the response. And but in terms of getting that positive response, we had so many people that were reaching out and saying to both of us, Patty sharing his story and sharing that he's struggling with mental health made me feel like it was okay to prioritize my mental health. And then they would share their own mental health stories with us. I've been struggling with this for a really long time. Ever since this person passed away, I've been feeling like this. And it really just, by Patty sharing his story, it made other people feel like they were able to open up. And so we wanted to take that idea and that general concept and, create a platform so that people can get encouragement from other people's stories. And the cool thing is, with Instagram, you could do
anything's possible.
Anything. It's crazy. So it started as, a project, and it's just something that we were going to do. Patty every single year, even before I met him, has been doing charitable initiatives. But so this year, what he wanted to do and what we decided to come up with was to fund this project. But luckily, it's been so well received that people have been really telling us what they want next from it. And it's now a full-fledged nonprofit, which is great. We're launching a website in the next month or so, where it's in the process of being built.
I'll put the link in the description. It'll be out by the time this comes out fully.
Awesome. Yeah. We've been working with our marketing team to get our website put up, and it's going to have a lot of different resources on the webpage. So right now, if you go to the Instagram, it's kind of a random array of just kind of in chronological order, the stories that we get coming in. But we want to be able to have it so that you can go onto the website and say, okay, I'm struggling with postpartum depression. And then you can go to a tab with that exact topic, and then you can see a lot of different stories about that particular thing that you're struggling with.
Oh, very cool. So it's like you can drill down to your issue, almost like searching for other people who've been through something similar.
Exactly.
And then access resources accordingly.
Yeah. So we're going to be linking resources under those topics as well. And so people will be able to get the help they need for what their particular situation is.
Wonderful.
So, thanks.
It's so important. And I think kind of to that point of like idealizing someone, because Patty in particular is in this position of people thinking like, oh, he's so tough and he's so this or whatever, right? He's got it all together. Look, he's so successful. To have him be like, I have a hard time, gives other people permission to be like, oh, me too. Versus feeling like I got to just suck it up, like, get it together, stuff it down, move forward. There's this, I feel like that's why it's important for people who are in the limelight at any point in their life, the responsibility to be like, no, but I'm human too. Like, we're all human. Like, we're more alike than we are different, you know?
Absolutely. And I think something it's funny, we started it from us to you, but then I learned this in my master's program after. The 3 different ways to destigmatize something are protest, education, and contact. Protest is kind of, it can go either way, really strong responses. Education is something that is really great for changing people's minds, but actually not necessarily their behaviors. But contact is the third one, and it's basically, you hear a story from your neighbor. Your neighbor is experiencing this thing that is stigmatized, and you're like, oh, well, my neighbor has that, or they struggle with that, so it must be more normal than I think. And that's the thing that's most powerful in changing people's minds and their behaviors. So that's why I think people, we talk about the power of a story and the power of connecting with people. That's why I think From Us to You is so powerful for people, and it's resonating so much, is because, these people who are submitting stories, they're just like you and me, and it's, it could be your friend down the street, but everybody is struggling with something. Everybody is the main character in their own story, and everybody goes through those hills and valleys.
I think sometimes we assume that fame or fortune or success in some kind of area means that you don't have a tough time, or it means that this doesn't pertain to you. And I think sometimes we assume like schizophrenia looks like this, or depression looks like that. Like you said, like you don't get out of bed. Yeah. But it looks different for different people. And I find a lot of the things that I'll hear online from people are like, oh, I never realized that was what that was. I have that. Because they just didn't, like, there was no knowledge, and they didn't hear someone's story about like what it looks like and how it feels. Yeah.
Having a diagnosis for something can be really empowering.
100%.
Because it can really help people see like, oh, like something's not wrong with me, or I didn't know what this was, but now that I know what I'm going through, I know that other people have been through it, and I know that there's a path for success or feeling better.
Yeah, I was a member of my community shared this, and I think it's really powerful, is that she had got a new diagnosis of bipolar disorder and essentially thought her life was over. She was like, oh my God, this is terrible. And then she saw a TED Talk from Ellen Sachs, I think is her name, and I don't even know if she has bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. I'd have to double check, but I think it's even schizophrenia. And she's a lawyer, and she's been super successful. She's like, well, she can do it, then I can do it. Yep. I've shared this with my audience many times, but a good friend of mine, Gabe Howard, he had his first manic episode and ended up in the hospital and thought, I'll never date anybody. He was young. He was like, I think, let's say like 19, 20. I'll never own a home. I'll never get a job. My life is over. This is terrible. And he was forced to go through the hospital system to this group, but the group was open to people outside of the hospital. And this woman showed up, and she was like, I'm just here because I can feel myself ramping up. And my husband, I don't want to give him more stress. He's up for a promotion at work, and my kids, they're in school, and like, I just need to show up for them. And, the house is a mess, and I just feel like things aren't working out, and I need to get my shit together because I have a big presentation at work. He's like, and she was just sharing, and he was like, But you have to pause for a minute, because in my mind, I thought, I have bipolar disorder, I'm fucked. I have nothing. He's like, and then I sit down with this woman and she's like, I have a husband, I have kids, I have a job, I have a home, I have responsibility, people are counting on me.
Yeah.
And he's like, in my whole history until now, I never thought that was possible. And he's like, but then I saw it and was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I can do that. And it like almost makes me tear up, because I'm like, it's important for us to see, like, they can go through it too. Like, Patty can have a tough time. He can go in to get help and it can get better.
Yeah.
I can do that too.
Something really important that you just said too is acknowledging that, you know, the first time that you're experiencing this and when you're going through the what is going on with me phase, it can be really emotional. It can be really, really, really tough. And that's not, but it does get easier in the sense that you know exactly what to do when you do have those feelings coming up later.
Yeah.
So the first time that I was really going through these really highs and lows, it was before I even met Patty. Like, I have my own experience with therapy and everything. I lost my mom when I was 14. And
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Losing a parent is tough.
It is tough. But it was really like a big kind of time period where I was learning to, on top of all of that, learn to regulate my emotions. I was a teenager. But I went to a therapist and I learned that that is a resource that can help me when I am feeling those really big feelings of distress and uncertainty. But I would say ever since I went through that really tough phase in my life, I've known that that's something that I can fall back on again and again when I do have those feelings of being out of control. And I think it is now that I've gone through these different phases of being in therapy, in those tough parts of my life, I can feel when I feel this overwhelm and I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? It's almost like a knee-jerk reaction, like, okay, I need to schedule a session with someone, you know, and then that's kind of my go-to route, or like my plan of attack.
It's your safety net.
Exactly. But before I had that safety net, it can be a lot scarier, you know? So I think that once you figure out and kind of ask that for help and figure out what works for you, then you can return to that when you do start to feel those things and you can manage it. So instead of going to, you know, it's a 10, like, you can start to go when you start to feel it getting to a 6.
Yeah, because you have more awareness.
Exactly.
And then you also have a resource. So not to put you on the spot, but if we were to leave people with, like, other than therapy, is there anything that you've learned in your time in therapy, like a tool you continue to return to, or maybe a mantra or something that is always there for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Something that I struggle with is, you know, a lot of like what ifs, a lot of, you know, what if this happens, what if this happens, what if this happens, things that are out of our control, right? Like we
I was
just
like,
talked about.
anxiety.
Yeah.
She's such a son of a bitch.
Exactly. But there are a lot of things that you can do to try to bring yourself back into the present moment. So meditation is something that has really helped me. And, you know, I think that, like, something called grounding is something that my therapist taught me that's really great. And so it's kind of acknowledging all 5 of your senses and seeing, like, okay, right now, what do I smell right now? What do I hear right now? What are 5 things that are blue in this room that I notice in this moment? And it just shows you how quickly you can kind of snap your brain from the future back to the present.
From all worries.
Exactly. And it's crazy. Kind of when my therapist said it to me, I kind of was like, that's not going to work. Like these thoughts are too overwhelming. There's too much going on. I can't control my thoughts, you know, but it's something that you have to practice. It's not something you're going to get right away, but practicing these kind of grounding techniques and practicing bringing yourself back to the present and acknowledging, you know, most of the things that you think are going to happen in the future, they're not even going to happen. I think it's like 85% of the things that you worry about don't even come to fruition.
Yeah.
So just kind of reminding yourself that you're in this moment and you have to deal with this moment and take things one step at a time. That's all you can really do.
I love that. And grounding is important because we can get caught up and thoughts will spiral. Also, a random fun fact is like 90% of the thoughts we've had them before.
Yeah.
So you're just on this like hamster wheel of like the same shit, different day.
Yep.
And it's like, it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
We can be like, no, like I can feel the sweater on my skin. I can feel, okay.
We have a lot more control of our brains than we think we do. But again, it takes practice and it takes that kind of aha moment after doing and trying a lot of different things to figure out what works for you. But once you figure out what it is, then it's a lot easier than you think to return to that when you need it later on. Kind of like tools in the toolbox.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're building a muscle.
Yeah.
That muscle gets stronger and stronger.
Exactly.
When it comes to From Us to You, what are your goals for it? Where do you see it going, let's say, in the next 5 years or so?
Like I said a little bit earlier, we have the website that's coming out we'll be starting to highlight resources a lot more for people. We've also started planning a lot of events in the community. And also, since we're going to start taking donations relatively soon, in addition to the stories, we want to use those donations to be able to provide scholarships for therapy.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So we want to be able to give people the resources that really have helped Patty and I in the past, because they work. But the problem with therapy in the healthcare system and everything is that, there's wait lists, and sometimes it takes more than a couple of sessions to really see a difference and to really build that relationship with your therapist. So it can be a really costly venture, and we want to be able to give people more accessibility to those tools. I think that something that we've learned from this first couple of months of doing From Us to You is that we're really listening to the public in terms of what they need and what they want. So when we started it, like I said before, we were just starting with the stories, and we were kind of like, we'll see what happens, we'll see where it goes. But it's really been so much engagement from the community and telling us, okay, well, are you guys going to do this? Like, I think you should do this. I think you should do this. And we're listening to all of those every single time that a DM comes into our messages, whether it's mine or Patty's or From Us to You's inbox. We take that into consideration, and we really do write it down and listen to the public and what they want From Us to You to be. So I think that, to a degree, of course, I have some general plans, some general dreams for it, but also, I want it to be whatever is most impactful and what people really need, not just what I think and Patty thinks it should be. So
yeah,
we'll see how it evolves.
I can't wait to follow along. I think it's definitely a really wonderful tool, wonderful resource for people. I feel like a lot of times, people are struggling, they don't know who to turn to. And I always think the more that we put out, normalizing, letting people know there's resources available, the better. And it is definitely costly. It doesn't matter where you are, because in parts of the world where it's covered by insurance, the wait lists are huge.
Yeah.
And you're like, I have to wait 2 years by the time I've reached out for help. And then even personally speaking, like I pay $150 every time I see my therapist, and that's a lot of money. And so that's really beautiful what you guys are doing. I'll link everything in the description so you guys can check it out. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. I can't wait to see what you are up to, as well as From Us to You.
Thanks so much for having me. This has been so much fun.